Yawning. Everyone yawns. Me, you, dogs, cats, koalas, even fish. Arr. Yawning is your natural body response to tiredness and also feedback to boring content. Evolution has gotten so crazy, we now use it in the form of ignorance. For example, we won! F you, I don't care. Yawn emoji. But how does yawning solve anything? And why is it so contagious? For a long while, a commonly acceptable theory was that yawning brings in more oxygen, mainly for your brain, so the neurons could have a constant supply for their work. But this was later debunked because studies revealed that a controlled lack of oxygen doesn't necessarily result in more yawning. Moreover, it doesn't explain why a fetus yawns, as the fetus gets its oxygen through blood via its umbilical cord. Yeah, fetuses yawn. The more you know. Yawning is commonly associated with being tired, but paradoxically, it is theorized that yawning is not a sign of sleepiness or boredom, but rather a reflex that your brain induces to wake you up. Yawning is associated with all these hormones that are released, which briefly increases the heart rate. This causes you to not sleep and be more alert. It is hypothesized this could be an evolutionary response that led Homo sapiens be always alert if dangers were nearby. Your brain heats up, just like any other thing that does work. Yawning is theorized to cool the system, like a fresh wind you feel after doing sweaty stuff. I don't know. Yawning provides a direct heat exchange from the deep inhalation of cooler air. The air exchanged during yawning would cool venous blood draining from the nasal and oral orifice into the cavernous sinus, which surrounds the internal carotid artery, supplying blood to the rest of the brain. Right about here, right about here, right about here. Cool, cool, cool. Also remember all these hormones? They interact with the hypothalamus, a brain structure right about here, strongly linked to all these shenanigans. Another theory is we yawn to get more aroused. Yeah, animals yawn in situations where the maintenance of arousal levels are important and the environment isn't really helping out. Penile erection has been observed to accompany yawning in several mammalian species, and that nitroglycerin, a potent vasodilator, results in both yawning and penile erection in male rats. Now, why is it contagious? Hearing the word yawn makes me yawn. You've probably yawned too. Researchers don't know for sure why this happens, but they think it's related to empathy. When people laugh, you laugh. When they cry, you cry. Unless you're a strong little man. When they yawn, we yawn. We might yawn so hard we start to tear up. This is not because you're one big crybaby, of course not, but because yawning exerts pressure on the surrounding muscles, one of them being the lacrimal glands. These glands normally secrete tears to moisturize your eyes. Yawning puts pressure on these glands, stimulating it, producing this. So, if you're more empathetic, you might yawn more. So, what about neurodivergent people, you might ask? You would never ask. You didn't even think about it, Poe, so you were yawning the whole time. This susceptibility to contagious yawning decreases in people who have had a hard time with social interactions, typically including people with autism spectrum disorder. Also, the more likely an empath contagiously yawns relates with how strong the bond is they have with the other person. So, if your dad yawns, chances are you might yawn. Studies show it doesn't even have to be a human you're yawning from. Research shows 69% of test subjects yawned seeing animals yawn. Nice. We really don't know much about yawning as compared to other human emotions and functions. And that's sad. People ask, why are you yawning? And not, how are you yawning? Yawning might just be one of those things we might never get an answer to. Among them is, why haven't you subscribed yet?